everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And in today's video, I thought I'd take you through some of the plants in my collection that I am currently struggling with, ones that are not doing very well at all. I know I often focus on the really healthy, lovely plants in my collection, but I don't think there's ever been a time where I haven't had something going on with at least a few of my plants. And I've got quite a lot at the moment, so I thought I would take you through them, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So if you watch my other videos, then you might notice that the plants behind me have changed slightly, and that is because my alocasia Portadora, again, is not doing very well. She's actually currently outside because isolation at the moment is quite difficult because I don't have that much space. But I brought a leaf to show you because I've given her another big chop back. And one of the things that I've come home to since I got back from holiday is spider mites and thrips on a major level. I'm not ruling out any of my plants as being affected right now because I keep thinking that I've got it under control, and I keep putting plants in areas of isolation and then finding them on other plants. So, oh dearie me, it's a bit of a struggle, but God, that was a weird siren. I don't know what that was. But yeah, as you can see, this is what a lot of her leaves are looking like at the moment. And if you look at the back of the leaf, you can see, if you can't see properly on camera, I'll put some clips in, but you can see lots and lots of damage. And alocasias are very sensitive to pests, like they are very susceptible to them, unfortunately. And it is something I've struggled with this plant on and off over the years, but at the moment it's got really bad. So I think she's going to be okay. Like, I know that I'm probably going to have to keep her as far away from all of my other plants for a while as I possibly can, and do several treatments, because I think maybe I was just a little bit too relaxed with it the last time. I think I thought that I'd got them all, and I did actually pest treat her again before I went on holiday, but they're back in force. So yeah, that is what is currently going on with her. And I know I did do an update on some of my plants in my prepping plants for holiday video when I came home, but since then, there has also been more drama that I think probably started when I was away, but I didn't really see the full effect of until I'd been home for a little while. So the next one is my Peperomia Frost. And this is a plant that I, to be completely honest, think was completely forgotten about in the time that I was away. This one doesn't do very well with heat, and I got back and its soil was absolutely bone dry. I mean, it might have been watered when I was away, but I think looking at it, it was pretty unlikely. It was literally completely drooped over. I did have a look at the roots, and the roots actually look absolutely fine, which I'm quite surprised about. And as you can see, it's got a little bit of growth up here that looks healthy. But what I've done is I've taken loads of cuttings of this plant that I am propagating at the moment, so I know that I'll at least be able to start another plant if this one doesn't make it. But I think what I'm going to have to do with this one is give it a really major chop back, which I'm so sad about. This one was doing so well, and this is one that I propagated from a leaf cutting originally anyway, and I was just so proud of this plant, so I'm really gutted about that. But it does just happen sometimes, and as I say, this one is probably one of my higher maintenance plants. It is one that I would water on a fairly regular basis, and it had lots of humidity, and whenever it was really hot in this room, I would take it out because I knew that it would just kind of go, oh, if it was too warm, and obviously I just wasn't here to monitor it. So this is what it's currently looking like, and definitely not as lovely and healthy as it was before I left. But yeah, if it does come to starting a completely new plant, then I will be sad, but it is how it is. There's not a lot I can do about it. So yeah, I'll keep you updated with all of these. There's a couple that I don't think are actually savable, but we'll get to those in a minute. But the next one is a weird one. So this one is a Variegata monstera, and if you were to look at it, you wouldn't think that it was doing badly at all. But I took a cutting of this plant at the same time as I took a cutting of another plant, which I will put a clip in of. And if you look at the other plant, you'll see it's doing absolutely amazingly. It's a really big, full, mature plant now, and this one has just done nothing. Like, at one point I thought this leaf was kind of yellowing and might die off, and it hasn't. But at the same time, there's nothing that's happened to this plant in about 5 months. And the other ones that I propagated from the same mother plant and have been in pretty much identical conditions, identical substrates, all that sort of stuff, have given me kind of like 6 or 7 leaves by now, and I'm not quite sure why this one's just not doing anything at all. I moved it to a terracotta pot fairly recently because I wanted to kind of take a look at the roots, and I was like, maybe it's root rot related, and it wasn't. So So yeah, it's just doing nothing for me. And I wouldn't say it's like a plant failure, but it's definitely one that I feel like I'm doing everything right. And this is on the whole quite a fast growing plant and it's not doing anything for me. So I feel like it's a struggle because I feel like it should be doing more, but yeah, I don't want to say I'm bored of this plant now. Like, I think it's a beautiful cutting and I think it's got some lovely variegation, but as I say, it's literally been like this for months and months and months and there's no sign at all of any new growth. It's not even bulging. So yeah, if anyone has any theories about what's going on with this, do let me know. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. But yeah, so that's that one. And then this is one that I just don't think is savable. It's very sad, but I mean, it wasn't one of my most kind of prized plants. It's one that I maybe didn't talk about on my channel that much. It made me happy, but wasn't amazing. This is my Photonia. This is one of my Photonias. And again, this one, I try to keep its soil fairly consistently moist. And when I was away on holiday, have a feeling it might have been another one that was forgotten about because I got home and it pretty much looked like this. And I don't know, I don't really know if there's anything at this stage I can do to save it, and I don't think there is. It's all crispy and it's dead. It's pretty much dead. So it probably needs to go in the bin. I've been resisting putting it in the bin because I'm like, I don't want, maybe it'll just spring back to life. I'll give it a good water, maybe it'll do good things, but yeah, that's probably, I'm gonna put that one to one side and probably throw it away, which is quite sad. But considering I was away for 9 days in one of the most insane heat waves we've ever had in the UK, I think there could have been a lot of worse things that happened. So yeah, if I lose a couple, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, and then my Philodendron marmay. So this is one that hasn't been doing great for a while. I did battle with spider mites with this plant and it did actually have spider mites. This was one that was really badly affected when I first got back from holiday. I've treated it several times. It's living downstairs at the moment because I don't want it in the same space as my other plants. And it's just, I don't know, it has given me some new growth since I've got home and even the new growth does not look happy at all. So I don't know, I really like this plant and when I see other people's marmays, I'm always like, oh, they're so gorgeous. And then I'm like, mine never looks like that. And I've got it in pure pon at the moment. It's in a little ice cream thing with a reservoir beneath it. And I feel like I need to make a video on this soon because I am having such a love-hate relationship with pon at the moment. I love the principle of it. I've got a few plants that are doing quite well in pon, but I just, on the whole, don't seem to have a very good experience with it. And I feel like I know soil so much better and I really wanted to kind of fall in love with pon and start using it to kind of make my plant care a little bit lower maintenance, but I don't think it's doing the trick for this plant, and obviously some of this is pest related, but yeah, I'm tempted actually to completely chop this plant up once it's pest free and start again in soil, but I don't know, but yeah, as you can see, it's just got lots of discoloration on the leaves, lots of browning. It's trying, you can tell it's trying to grow, but it's just not looking particularly happy at the moment. So yeah, and the next casualty plant is one that I'm really sad about, but I do think is savable. It is my Shishmata glottalisfeliciai, and this had been a wishlist plant of mine for such a long time. Absolutely loved it when I got it. I still love it, to be honest, but it's just given me so much drama. Like, I'd never had this type of plant before and it took me a little while to kind of get used to what it liked and what it didn't like, and I learnt very quickly that it doesn't like its soil to dry out. It goes very limp and floppy, kind of like a peace lily. It's a very dramatic plant, and when I got back from holiday it was just like, ugh, it was just completely flopped over and its soil was bone dry. So that was, I think, partly the cause of some of the, oh, one just fell off, the yellowing leaves, but also it did have thrips. And although I think at the moment it looks thrip free, I'm not ready to take this plant out of isolation yet. I don't think the battle with thrips is over, and I think just because having pests takes the plant's energy away so much anyway, because it's literally being fed on and then not being necessarily cared for in the right way when I was away. It's just, oh, I've just found spider mites as well. Again, might not be able to see on camera, but right in the middle of that leaf there. So yeah, the battles with this plant are very much ongoing, and I'm really sad because I really love it, and I know it will be fine, but I think I'm probably going to have to give it, as well as a really good pest treatment, a really, really good chop back. And it's just got such beautiful foliage. It seems such a shame to chop it back. I mean, some might be okay. I can't see spider mites on any of the other leaves, but this one here, hang on. I'm actually just gonna take this leaf off and I'll show you up close because it does not look good. I also know that you shouldn't just use your fingers to break plant leaves off, but I'm gonna give it a chop back after this anyway. Can you see that all in there? As I say, if you can't, I'll take a clip and put it in. But yeah, that's a plant that is just stressing me out a bit at the moment because it was so perfect when I got it and I was so over the moon to own that plant. And yeah, it's just been drama after drama after drama. So I will keep you updated. I might actually chop it back today. I've been putting it off, but I think having found spider mites now, I think that is probably a sign that it needs to be dealt with very quickly. So yes. And then another one that's probably destined for the bin. This was my Syngonium pixie, which, I mean, wasn't doing amazingly even before I went on holiday. But again, I mean, I put a green label on this one. And if you watched my prepping plants for holiday video, you will know that that basically just means the top layer of soil to dry out and then give it a water. And I don't think that happens again. Soil bone dry. Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite unlikely that this one is going to bounce back. And it was just a small plant and it probably wasn't one of like the top ones in my collection, one of my favorites, but at the same time, it did make me happy. I just thought it was a lovely little kind of cheeky, characterful plant, and I might chop it right back and have a look at the roots and see if there's anything that can be done. But I mean, I think the stem looks pretty alive still, but as you can see, the foliage definitely isn't. So maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try a little rehab with this plant and see if there's anything that can be done, but I'll keep you updated. And then my Hoya Curtsii that I got from House of Kojo, this one, as you can see, it's looking a bit dead. This one just hasn't done very well for me, and luckily there were some really healthy strands when I got it, so I've taken lots of cuttings and I am propagating this plant. But the main body of the plant, I don't really know if I can take it out and show you. Oh, I actually can very easily. It's been potted in like complete wood, and I know that these are epiphytic plants and technically they can grow in that substrate, but it just makes things a little bit difficult when it comes to repotting and stuff like that, because when I took a proper look at this plant when I first got it, I thought, oh, okay, it's not doing amazingly, maybe it needs a repot. And then I was like, if I try and break that bark apart, it's gonna completely kill the plant's roots. So I just kind of potted soil around it and hoped that it might kind of spread out, and that hasn't happened. It's not looking great, but as I say, I have taken some cuttings and I do hope at some point I'll be able to get a lovely new plant going. But right now, this is what we're looking at, and I might even, I mean, there's a few sections like even just like growth like that, I might be able to get a few more cuttings off it, but a lot of this here, although it looks alive, is very crispy and very dead. So yeah, you can't win them all, can you? But if anybody has experience growing Hoya in bark, then let me know. I know some people use like orchid bark chunks and stuff like that, but this is literally like a solid piece of wood, which I completely appreciate probably mimics its natural environment better than normal houseplant soil. But at the same time, when you are growing it as a houseplant and you're growing it in a pot, it does just make it that little bit more difficult to deal with. So yes, and then there's one more and I'll bring it over. So the final plant that is not doing very well is my Sodoroi Af and my Philodendron Sodoroi Af. And I showed you this one again when I first got back from holiday and I discovered spider mites on it. I also discovered thrips on it, and it has been pest treated several times in the time that I've been back, but it is still very much an isolation zone. I know that this plant is definitely not free of pests yet, and as you can see, it's got a lot of damage. And although I think a lot of this probably is down to pests, like if you look at, which leaf was it? Yeah, if you look at this leaf here, I think a lot of it is down to pests. I also think that the watering it had, again, when I was away on holiday, was not the best, and that's not my mum's fault. I probably just didn't leave clear enough instructions, and also I know my plants well. I know what they like, and sometimes instructions aren't enough. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like monitoring your own plants, you know them better than anyone else. So yeah, I don't want to lose this plant, and it has actually got a really lovely new leaf coming just there, but I'm actually very tempted to chop it up at some point. It's also, so it's trying to flower, and I don't know, that thing there, that's actually a flower, and I don't think now is the time to be chopping it if I potentially want to pollinate this plant, because my white princess there is also about to flower too, and I'm kind of thinking it would be amazing if I could try and pollinate them. Oh my goodness, I feel like I have so much to say on this. I was chatting to Joep, who's Curious Plant Guy on Instagram, but he was telling me a lot about philodendron pollination and how you only have one night to do it, and then there's like beetles involved that get in there and pollinate the plant, and it's literally, oh my goodness, it's so fascinating. So if I do decide to do that, I will make a video on it. But I'm also just thinking this plant is not in the healthiest way at the moment. Is it the time to be trying to pollinate it, or will I just kill it off? I don't know. If anybody has any advice, then please do let me know. But yeah, I'll keep you updated with all of these plants, to be honest. I think all of them do require quite a lot of TLC and probably pest treatments, taking a look at the roots, just kind of having a complete reevaluate of how I'm doing things with them, because they're obviously not happy. But I did just want to show you some of my collection that weren't doing very well as well, because as I said at the beginning of this video, I know I do tend to focus on like exciting growth updates and loads of things that are going really well with my plants, but that's never realistic. I've always got things going on with my plants that is not all good. I commonly experience pest problems and overwatering and underwatering and plants that get forgotten about and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll let you know how they get on, but do let me know in the comments some plants that you're struggling with at the moment, and fingers crossed all our plants get back on track soon. But it's just part of the journey. It's just what happens. They are living things and they're never going to be perfect all the time, but yes, that's the drama going on with my collection. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.